Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about the cats, specifically tabby cats. Why I choose this subject? Because I was watching non-stop the spinning cat trend, which is now running on all social medias available. You know, the spinning cat making the sound. It's funny. And I have also my own, actually I had my own tabby cat. However, he ran away and I don't know his fate now. And also in my garden, we have 3 tabby cats living and I'm taking care about them, but they're stray cat. Anyway, so this was my inspiration and I questioned myself, what does a tabby means, right? We name it tabby cat, tabby cat, tabby cat. Okay, let's start with the word cat. Nobody knows what the cat means. You know, when we are doing one word, we can look for the root of the word and we can come up with the conclusion that this word belongs. No, it's a self-named. The cat is the cat. We don't know meaning behind that. And this is the primer meaning of the cat. So there is no meaning. And if you're going to take a list of all the languages which is available, I posted on my Telegram channel one time the name of word cat, for example, in Italian gatto, in Russian kot, in Arabic qitta, and they are really close to each other. It's like Indo-European languages and Semitic languages, they share this word. So it didn't change completely. It's still there is a k, still there is a t, and still there is in the middle vowel letter. They didn't change completely. Same if we're going to apply for the word cherry. If we're going to take Indo-European languages and we're going to take the Semitic languages, even my language is a Turkic, right? Which I think it was influenced from the Persian for the word cherry. Still we have similarities. So I can now tell you that word cherry, which is not related to our subject, and the word cat, which is related to our subject, they spread worldwide, not that much change. For example, bread in English is a bread, in Arabic is totally different word, right? But in these languages, they are sound very similar. And when you're learning some languages, it's easy for you to learn these primer words because they're still close to your own language. If we're going to talk about what does it mean, tabby, that was my wonderful discovery, guys. Tabby is a district in Baghdad. So it existed around, maybe it's now even existed, the Iraqi people, they can confirm in my comments, around 14th century, merchants in Baghdad who trade, okay, and they work in the bazaar, in the markets, they trade in the district At-Tabbiya district, and that district mainly was trading for the silk, luxurious silk with a wool striped silk taffeta with beautiful wavy patterns. So just I'm giving description of the silk. This silk pattern comes from Persia, modern Iran, as explained, and the silk itself we know comes from the China. So in Baghdad they evaluated this kind of stripy, woven, wavy, let's say, pattern. So this cloth was called a tabby in Arabic after the neighborhood where it was made. And if we're going to take the word itself, at-tabbiya or at-tabbi, that's a very famous Muslim man. He was appointed by Prophet Muhammad, peace upon him. He was appointed to be a governor in Mecca, and he was also part of Quraysh clan, Quraysh tribe. So his name was Atib bin Asid, and from his name we have name of Tabby. We're going to go deeply. Because this luxury silk was traded between Europe, it reached England. So first, of course, the term passed through French as Tabbies or Tabbies into the English by early, let's say, 16th, and formed to the final Tabby, meaning a silk fabric with a watered striped design. So as we said, Englishmen, they got the word tabby from the French people, so it became from tabbies, tabby. And at first it's used only for the fabric, right? We are exporting from Iraq to the France, from the France. I'm sure it was some kind of silkway. We have a famous silkway, and already this is the silky garment. So it passed to the England, and it was used only for the fabric, so describe the only fabric. So you go to the market, you say, okay, give me 1 meter of tabby, right? You're going to have a stripy, silky, luxurious, high quality silk. But as anyone who lived with the cats knows that cats, they have a way of inserting themselves into everything. Sure, it is absolutely sure. So within a few decades, the word tabby was applied to the cats, to the specifically striped coated. So we have a black cat, we're naming that black cat, but if we see stray cat or any random cat with a stripy coat, instead of saying stripy, we're going to use tabby cat. By 1690s, people were saying tabby cat to mean the cat with a tiger-like stripes. And by 1770, the name was shortened, so people just dropped the word cat and they start to name any striped kitty as a tabby. Over the time, the fabric name faded. Absolutely, nowadays we are not using, if we're going to the fashion, we're not naming the material as a tabby. And so that means it's by 19th century, this name totally disappeared. Obviously, people stopped to wear stripy coats, and the tabby became devoted only to the cats. In fact, by 19th century, tabby even became a stereotypical name for the old female cat. So we're going to name with the Tom. So old female cat named as a tabby, and her husband, male cat, going to be named as a Tom. But why were striped cats so common to begin with, right? Because we're digging into tabby cat history, not the cat, but the tabby cat specifically, which is this type. We need to travel back, where everything it starts. It starts with the Near East, of course. So we start with the Cyprus. In this Cyprus, we found burial. Some lady or man was buried together with the cats. So we refer the oldest found cat in the history was in the Cyprus. I think for sure, maybe by some time of period, we'll find out another skeleton of the cat, and then we're going to refer that place or that area as oldest. But for now, it is officially Cyprus. So if anyone going to question you, where is the oldest artifact or where is the oldest skeleton is buried, is in Cyprus. Cyprus, everybody knows, is a Mediterranean island in the Mediterranean Sea, very famous one. So roughly, cat itself, they're giving appearance, domestication between 10,000, 9,000 years ago. Of course, domesticated late than dogs. Dogs were domesticated earlier. And this wildcat is African wildcat. It's the fauna of Africa. And of course, every name we're getting from the Latin. This African wildcat, named Felis libica. Not Libya, but libica. Libica means Africa for the Roman and Greek world before they name it Africa continent as a Libya. Don't mix here with the country Libya and the continent Africa. It's just an old name reference. Just extra small information for you. So small sandy striped wildcat, native to Middle East and North Africa, it was wild, but now it is domesticated. And they had a notably tabby-like coats, a gray or brown coat with the striped tabby markings that provided camouflage in any dry grassland. So basically they are camouflaging themselves, so they will hunt after the rats, after the frogs, whatever, after the crickets. I know the stray cats, they eat crickets also. That was new for me when I discovered my own cats, they're eating grasshoppers. And it's easy for them to camouflage like a tigers, right? They have this grayish and brownish stripes. And we domesticate them because we start to know about agriculture. We settled in one place, and now we have a lot of wheat, and the wheat also food for the rats and rodents. And who's going to terminate those rats and rodents? Of course, the cats. And for some treat, right? Domestication doesn't come just like that. Like I handle my stray cats, also I give them food, then we know each other, and then they start to trust me. I think each of us, we pass this way. The cat lovers who understand. I'm going to a different direction. Anyway, let's back to the history. So the domestication of the cats was reason behind that, because people want to protect their wheat. Very simple. We already said that these tabby cats were domesticated. Actually, they were origin from Africa. And we know that Egypt is in Africa. And we know how much ancient Egyptians love the cats. So the tabby coat is so ancient that experts say that dates back to domestic cats in ancient Egypt itself. Right? We will find a lot of depiction of tabby pattern cats in the reliefs, ancient reliefs in Egypt. So we know that they were sacred, and the Egyptians held cats in high esteem for protection from for example, even spiritual animals. And they often painted in the everyday scene. Even they used to mummify the cats with them. So if I die, my cat die, it's also saved and mummified together. It was a really sacred animal among all the animals I believe it existed. It was very close. So Egypt, we can speak, I can do separate video only Egypt and cats, because cats equals immediately when you say Egypt, ancient Egypt, what animal, we know it will come up. Bastet, right? Her lioness had her furious form, and her cat form when she's soft. So around like 1000 BC, Egyptian had fully domesticated cats. And the most part I love it here when the ancient Egyptians named the cat Meow. So if we're going to call our cat by name, they used to call Meow, 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 because cat gives the same example, meow or meow. So they just use the same sound in order to call their cats. And even the word itself, cat, was a meow. Here we go. We know one ancient Egyptian word which means cat. And it's very simple to remember because it is meow. And of course, I'm going to add here that ancient Egyptians, they had a law. If somebody going to kill a cat, that person will be sentenced to the death penalty. So they were so much sacred and respected that the harming them, it was really brutally punished. So this one happens when a Roman soldier, he came and he killed a cat. Actually, we have two legends, which is killed a cat and which is killed a dog. But the cat one is more popular. And that Roman soldier, he was executed basically. And overall, how the tabby cat spread to the Rome, of course, between the Egypt and Roman Empire or Rome itself, they were having a trading routes, and through that, tabby cat domesticated and spread it to the territory of modern Italy. And as an example, we have depiction of tabby cat who has the same striped pattern which is hunting after the ducks and the quail. And this mosaic was done 2nd century BCE. And overall, if we're going to look to the Roman history, cat not that much famous animal if we're going to compare to the Egypt itself. And we have another depiction. For example, if we're going to relate to the mythology, we don't see a lot of depiction or mentioning about the cats. We can only find, for example, god Triton, son of Poseidon. He used to be depicted as a cat face. That means that was also even not much popular or folklore among the people, right? It was more some kind of art. It was the imagination of the artist to depicting the Triton in the manner of the cat. It's like more was symbolic to depict the Triton two-headed. One side he has a cat features, which is showing him, even he's calm, he can still walk after you and hunt you. So let's go back to the mosaic, which was the cat was depicted. In this mosaic, you can see the details showing the cat coat color, and all art historians, they noted down this is the striped or striped coat. Essentially, Tabby 1, proving that Romans, they were familiar with this kind of pattern, stripy coat, and they kept them and domesticate them in their households. Also, we know, in general, cats they kept to control the, pests and protection from the rats. So it was common to have cats in that time. And also, by the Roman Empire expand its territories, the Tabby cats also, they go through that expansion, which is reaching the Britain, Gaul, and beyond, up to the northern territories of the Europe, which is northern Europe, which is we're calling Scandinavian countries. You see, as I said, unlike Romans didn't much mention about the cats or tabby cats in their mythology. If we're going to compare to Scandinavian countries, in Scandinavia we have Norse legend, and that's showing cats had arrived to Scandinavia by the Viking Age. So we have a goddess Freya. She's a deity and goddess of love and fertility, and her depiction it's very beautiful. Obviously, because she's a goddess of love. Her depiction also, she will be present and beautiful in manner. So it was said that to ride in a chariot pulled by two mighty cats, and those two mighty cats and the chariot was a gift from the god Thor. And the myth itself describes that Freya's cats were blue and gray. So we have to imagine some kind of bluish, grayish, stocky, fluffy Norwegian forest cats. So this is another marking that almost certainly have had the tabby markings. So many forest cats are gray, tabbies actually. So this tale and this folklore suggests that by approximately 800 and 1000 AD, domesticated cats were not only in the northern Europe, but it was important enough to feature in their own mythology, pulling a goddess chariot across the sky. This is beautiful. Overall, a lot of goddesses, they were depicted with let's say felines, with the cat types animals. For example, we have even in Anatolia Kybele, goddess Kybele depicted with the two cats, and we have also Venus, the goddess. Venus, it's just a cliche. The goddess also, she's sitting on the chair, and next to her two cat type, or it's a lion or it's a cheetah. We don't know approximate, but definitely this is the shape of the feline cat from the cat family. So, and here we have another example that in Norse mythology, we have a Freya riding the chariot with the two tabby cats. So we may conclude This is not 100% sure because nobody draw the picture of the chariot, of the tabby cats, but you assume by how they are describing that this is fluffy, grayish, bluish, and normally this is equal to the Norwegian forest cats, and we know that Norwegian forest cats, came from the tabby cats itself. If you look to the situation from the top to the history, and you will see how the tabby cats entering to the mythology, to the history, to the household, daily life routine. It's interesting, for example, how it's entered to the northern countries. And if we're going to look now to the east, for example, to the Persia and Indian subcontinent, here tabby cats, they draw different picture. For example, when the tabby cats entered to the Indian subcontinent, we have not exactly 100% verifying that these were the tabby cats, but ancient Sanskrit texts hint that cats lived in India by 1st millennium BCE. They didn't achieve the same, they didn't achieve the same level as in Egypt, but still in Indian folklore and religion, it's incorporated. For example, the Hindu folk goddess Shakti, or Shasti, she was a protector of the children and fertility, and she was also like Freya, depicted riding on the back of the cat. So this image of goddess calm astride the cat indicates that by ancient or early medieval times, cats were common enough in India to become a symbolic vehicle, transportation of the deities. Shati's cat isn't described by pattern in scriptures, but many traditional illustrations show it with a typical tabby colored coat. So if we're going to take a random picture of her, of the goddess, we will see her riding tabby cat. And this one, it's, this is again the folklore. Indian people, they decided that she has to be depicted riding the tabby cat. Same like a Freya, right? She was having a chariot. And in Persia, didn't get that much famous in Persia, the tabby cats. Ancient times, Persians, they were more dog lovers, like Mesopotamian people. And also we had a law, same like Egypt, they had a law, if you're going to harm a dog, it's a sacred animal, and it was mentioned in the religion, and it's a companion in the afterworld. If you harming any dog, you have to be punished again, death penalty, and you are responsible for the killing a dog. It's not just that simple. And the cats didn't that much enter into the mythology, into the folklore, etc., comparing to the Egypt, right? Later, we can say, for example, we have a Persian literature, precious, interesting Persian literature, which tells the stories about the wise cats, right? We have a story, Wise Cat, which is outlining the fox. We have a story in Persian literature, Cat and Fox. So Iranian poet Sadi in 13th century mentions the temperament of the cats, the characteristic of the cats, how they are smart and they are more sly than fox. If we're going to go more further from India, in China, surprisingly, civilization was the Asian records of so many things had no native domestic cats until really, really late. So domestication of the cats arrived to China in Tang Dynasty. And Tang Dynasty means 7th century AD. So imagine how much late. And these cats came, of course, through the trading with the Persians, with the Arabs, etc. Before that, people in China did coexist with a different feline. This is Asian leopard cat, but those small spotted wildcats were not ancestors of house cats, of domestic cats, which is aka tabby. The true domestic cats, our tabby-coated feline catus, this is the Latin name, came an exotic pets for the elite. In China, people used to buy tabby cats as a luxury because they weren't there available. So only high level people and elite, they used to purchase those tabby cats. Around 600, 700, the diplomats and the merchants delivered these cats in the cages as a tribute to Chinese nobility, right? As a prize, to say thank you, because they were, as I said, they were so not available in the China, basically. Anything unique, Chinese people, they used to really appreciate. So according to archaeologists, all tabby cats type cats, they came through Great Silk Road trading. And specifically, the cats, the researchers, they conclude that the cats given to the Tang elite, they were likely pure white tabby cats or tabby with the tabby pattern or tabby patches. In other words, some of these first cats to set paws in the East Asia indeed had tabby stripes. Chinese writings from Tang and Song period described cats with various coat colors, implying that within a few generations tabby patterns were firmly established among the feline population. But the most famous ones were the stripy ones and the pure white ones in Tang dynasty. Accordingly, earliest depiction of the cats will be also in Tang dynasty. We have the depiction of the domestic cat in China dates to the early 9th century. It's discovered in the tomb. Two cats are painted in the scene. They appear to be black and white cats, perhaps one with the patches, sitting among the ladies of the court. While these particular cats aren't depicted as the tabbies, the fact that they are present at all is remarkable, that it's showing that they had entered to the daily life of Chinese people, especially to the Chinese upper class. All Chinese folk belief held that the cats could ward off evil spirits. Farmers even worshipped a cat goddess named Li Shu for protecting grain from the rats. A totally different situation in medieval Europe when, cats was the evil. Specifically fully black cats. I don't, which is related to the witchcraft. Oh, if that cat has the green eyes, oh my God. So, the story. So our tabbies were often brown or gray, so they may escape from this worst scenario, but still we have. Recently I had a post on my channel on Instagram telling that anti-pop people, they used to catch cats and stuff that cats inside the fake pop doll and the burn, and while burning you can hear the screaming of the cats. So I believe that it wasn't not necessary were totally black cats, but they were also tabby cats as well. And so in medieval, especially the black cats were brutally killed because they considered associate with the witchcraft. But on the other hand, we have manuscripts which monks, they used to do it. So occasionally they used to doodle playful cats and how they are playing with stuff or sitting or chasing the mice. And we have even famous one Irish monk, he write down poem and addresses to his cat, which was named Pangurban, who was completely white. And we can see funny illustrations in English manuscripts as well. We have many. So this is telling us that visually and truly they were already entered to the people's lives, European people's life, and they were also adored in some way. And they lived together closely, but prior primary function to keep cats, they were of course again to save their grains from the rotten and rats. And we have another legend about Jesus and the cat itself. So it's a folklore tale. One European legend actually claimed that Tabby's M, which is on the forehead letter M, stands for the Mary, mother of the Jesus. According to the story, when baby Jesus was crying, a little cat snuggled alongside to warm him. And Mary, Virgin Mary, gently stroked the cat's head in a thanks, leaving the letter M on his forehead. And this, spread to all tabby cats. So sometimes they're calling this M mark of Mary, which is cast the tabby as a blessed creature in Christian folklore. And if we're going to talk, we said the Christian folklore, and if we're going to talk about Islam, now and before, Muslims, they are a fan of the cats. I think what I witnessed myself, they like cats, they love cats, they adore cats. So even cats are allowed to enter to the domestic cats, tabby cats, or stray cats, they are allowed to enter to the mosques. And if, for example, you're praying and the cat's bothering you, it's still okay. You will not get anger and throw the cat from you and telling, oh, cat is disturbing. No, nothing like that. And they were really admired because they were gentle nature, right? The cats are very gentle and they clean themselves. Hadith also that the Prophet Muhammad, peace upon him, he famously said to have love cats, and he had his own tabby cat, which was named Muazza, name. So we have a tale also behind that his cat once fell asleep on his sleeve, the Prophet's robe, and the Prophet, he, in order not to disturb the cat from the sleep, he just cut off his sleeve and leave the cat in peace. This is how much the privilege giving to the cats. And also there is another story that the cat saved the Prophet from the deadly snake, killing the snake, which is entered to his sleeve. So for the gratitude, the Prophet, he stroked the cat's back and had the ability to land on its feet and marked its forehead with the M. So now all the tabbies were, and because of such a stroke, we have now letter M, which is referring to the Prophet name, which is kind of suspicious because it is not Arabic name, because the Prophet was Arab, right? We don't stick this one and keep it as a true story. It's obviously made up story. And we have also Abu Huraira, famous companion of the Prophet. And if we're going to translate his name, Abu Huraira, it will going to be translated like a father of the kittens. In the Middle East, cats freely walk around and they're welcomed in the homes and even the mosques. So they were providing companionship. And travelers in Cairo or Damascus in 15th century noted cats everywhere. They were brown, gray, and tabby blended into the street. So we have here also again mentioning that the travelers, when they come to Cairo and Damascus, they see a lot of cats just walking in the streets without any scare that somebody going to catch them, that somebody going to kill them, or somebody going to cook them, right? Same like it's Istanbul, Even when I was in Cairo, it's the same thing. I think nothing changed. I saw everywhere cat, and the people are so kind to the cats. You see the blend, the relation with the animals was beautiful, very beautiful. So this one again, the travelers noted the same thing in 15th century. I have already mentioned that cats in India, they entered as a goddess, right? They entered as a divine tradition, And we have Panchatantra and Jataka tales. This is Asian medieval animal Indian fables. So from this, remember the name, from Panchatantra came 1001 Arabian Nights or 1001 Nights. These tales were inspired from Panchatantra, which is Indian folk tales. I'm going to do separate video about this one, but I want to highlight that the cats in Indian folk tales, in the tales itself, mentioned a lot how cat tricked the mice, how it was fast and hunting and smart. So this one's all tales was mentioning in the South Asia. Even in the Mongol period of India, so it's approximately 16th, 17th century, in royal chronicles, occasionally cats are mentioned that they are attending to the court. So imagine there is a court and you're judging someone, and there is a cat occasionally walking, and even we have a depiction. Plus, the Mongol Emperor Humayun, he had a pet cat. So they, of course, the Mongol paintings, they are primarily focused on the big cats like a lion and cheetahs for the royal hunting. You know, they always like to depict that this super king, he's hunting after the lion and cheetah and the tiger. But if we're going to go to the normal day life, when they are occasionally sitting, you can find on the background in the palace scene cats. That's very lovely. So they are among the silk cushions, you know, playing. If we're going to talk on painting in general, as I mentioned, the Mongol period there was depicting, and if you go into the Renaissance also, it was a specifically depiction of tabby cat. So we have a painting, Barocci's painting, the Madonna of the Cat, in 1575, and we can see exactly depiction of the tabby cat, and we may conclude that tabby cat also was a part of everyday family life. In Renaissance was okay to depict anything from life, like cats, animals, human. In Islamic Golden Age, due to the religious context, it wasn't allowed, but in everyday Persian miniatures and Ottoman paintings, you still find the cats. Ottoman manuscripts, the illustration from 16th century shows a cat in the market. We have that one. Or Persian poet Hafiz, he mentioning cats passing in his verses, for example. Or Ottoman writers, also they're mentioning anecdotes, funny stories of cats in the bazaars. Not only the Ottomans, but Europeans also, they start to mention specifically the tabby cats in their literature. For example, in 1960, Horace Walpole wrote of his beloved tabby cat Selima, who inspired the poem Ode on the Death of Favorite Cat by Thomas Gray, describing a cat likely a tabby who drowns in a goldfish bowl. And in 19th century, Charles Dickens kept cats. He had a cat, her name was Williamina. You know, she had a habit, if she wanted attention from Charles Dickens, she used to come and sniff candlelight. Imagine. So also he described his cat like the tiger cat. He gave a reference as a tiger cat, which is for us as a tabby. And the most iconic cats, it's of course Cheshire Cat from Lewis Carroll, Alice's Adventures in the Wonderland, very popular Cheshire Cat. And illustrator John Tenniel, he gave a bold stripes, essentially making it tabby cat. Puss in the Boots. Puss in the Boots. Everybody think that Puss in the Boots is a very old Asian story, but no. It was originated in 1697, so recently, 17th century French tale by Charles Perrault. So this cat, Puss in Boots, also we have now, even in Hollywood recently they make a lot of cartoons about this. 3 series. I think Antonio Banderas, he gave his voice for the character. Anyway, Puss in the Boots also Tabby cat, stripy one, tomcat. Yeah. So these all how cats, tabby cats entered, and cultural depiction reinforced the image of the striped cat, making it a cozy and sometimes magical. It's amazing. So if we're going to summarize, we are understanding here that in 17th, 18th century, tabby cats, they enter throughout into the culture, into the poems, into the tales, into the paintings, and we having a shift in 18th and 19th century that the cats start to be classified, and we start to have breeds very popular by that time. This is a peak when we start to having breeds of the cats. So they start to classify cats not just by coat pattern, but by the breed. Still, but Tabby was a famous one, especially the brown one, the most common one in the world. And later, when the photography was invented, so you still find the depiction of the tabby cats in photography, in the film, and later on in internet. Specifically in the photography, if I'm going to mention, the first photographed animal is a cat, right? The first photography was some kind of street, right? But animal, if you're going to talk about animal, the first photographed, obviously it was a cat. And it's emerged new technology, so in Victorian era people start to play with the photography, and they start to love to pose with their pets, doing images of their cats, including the tabby cats. And we have photographer Harry Pointer. He became famous because he started to stage funny photos of the cats, and many models, they were tabbies. And in 19th century we have a famous English artist, Louis Vane. I make a video about him. Interesting story. So he started to do cat drawings, but more anthropomorphic way, like cats wearing suits, and they're at the tea table and smoking cigar, playing a poker. And unfortunately, when he became ill, he had a schizophrenia, and he started to draw the cats in a very abnormal and weird way. And he had a wife, and the wife, she passed away. She had a cancer, and in order her illness passes, let's say, easy, they adopted a tabby cat from the street. Yes, but it wasn't stripy one, which we're talking about, the famous one. It was a black cat with the M on the forehead. And when we talk about the TV, we had the cats in TV commercials, the orange tabby cat with the bowl of the cat food, right? Morris, he was an orange cat, orange tabby cat. Occasionally orange tabby cat, they become famous. Very famous one, I can say, in the world of fiction and comics, Garfield. Everybody knows Garfield. Was created by cartoonist Jim Davis, and he created him a fat, lazy, orange tabby cat, and he liked lasagna. And so this comic then emerged to the books, then get very famous name. So people start to name their pets after this character, Garfield. And we had to start to have movies about him, and he became an icon, and even he entered to the Guinness World Record as the world's most widely syndicated comic cat, tabby cat. And it became the image of cozy pet cat, actually, the Garfield himself. So there is another comic cat also, which is calling a Heathcliff. It was debuted 1973. It's less famous than Garfield, but it's also an orange tabby with the black stripes. So this orange tabby cat became too much icon, so we unconsciously start to recognize, for example, and it's come familiar with us, and we're comfortable with us every time we see an orange tabby cat. Even on TikTok we had a meme also, again, it's always orange cat who's making a trouble, for example. Or we have a Puss in the Boots again appearing in the Shrek films, right? And we have again orange tabby cat which was holding Galaxy on his neck in Men in Black, also was a tabby cat. And we have a goose cat in the Captain Marvel, which was released like recently, 2019. So this pattern, start to be like classic pet. It's recognized that this is image or icon of classic pet. Everything starts, let's say, from the literature and the art, and they enter photography, and then they enter filmography. Now we go into the world of the internet and the web, when cats, they become a really meme. We have many famous examples. 2007, orange tabby cat, keyboard cat. We have 2011 Nyan cat, which is animated gray tabby cat, also with a Pop-Tart body. And we have late 2000s lol cats, so they have like icon has a cheeseburger, something like that, speaking, asking.
Here, kitty, you can has cheeseburger.
With a funny text pop-ups. And we have Grammy cat or Tardar Souls become super meme star in 2012. It was she was not tabby, but she's Sesame mix, but yet she had the M sign on her forehead. And we have, as I said, this is spinning cat, which is, spinning. It became very famous. Until now it's famous. Before it was just spinning, and then people, they start to add different songs to it, and it's like spinning and singing and the spelling these vowels, oo, e, a, and making. Also it's come very meme. Again, these all are tabby cats, which is the theme of our today's subject. So I try to gather all the information which is related to tabby cats. I don't know how much it will impact your life, but I found the subject for myself interesting, so I said it will be interesting also to share with you. And last but not least, I would like to add this information. We come back to the Egypt. Archaeologists in Egypt, they found strange golden frame, wooden frame. And they found in the tomb of Prince Thutmose. It is the eldest son of King Pharaoh Amenhotep III and Queen Tiya. 18th dynasty, so it's new kingdom. So anyway, they found this golden frame, and it was like, what is the purpose of this golden frame? So why, strange golden frame inside the tomb of the Thutmose, the prince? And they put under the laboratory test and the microscopes and the research what they have to do, and they found out a lot of scratch. So imagine that was the board for the royal cat in order to scratch his lovely nails. The cats, they have it to scratch just randomly anything. and you need to buy specifically some cardboard also to scratch. So royal cat of the Prince Thutmose has his special or her special scratching board with the gold frame. Imagine that. And also mentioning his initials on it, name Tabby. The name of the cat was Tabby. Now people, they don't have something their own mentioning their initials. Do you know how much this is respect and the love giving to the cats? So ancient Egyptians, they really love and live life with the cats. And as I said, and we may assume that this was also tabby cat or cat with a M sign on their forehead or on her head or his head, doesn't matter. This is beautiful. Thank you so much for listening to me. This is all for now. This is all the information what I was able to gather about the tabby cats, and I just want to remind you that this came everything from Baghdad, the name itself, and every time you're seeing a tabby cat, so it will be association with you and extra knowledge. Comment, like, and subscribe to my channel for me to do for you more videos for the future. And thank you so much, and see you. Bye bye.